Hello and welcome back here to Knockhill for the next set of races in the LSR's British Touring Car Series for the spring 2026 season. We are here for rounds 13, 14 and 15 of the championship as we have got an amazing set of drivers this season once more. The fog has rolled in deep here as they prepare to go out for qualifying. And with that being said, qualifying has just got underway in the background. We, however, are going to talk a little bit about this event and the championship before we look too hard at today's races, and we are going to do that first of all by checking out the calendar for the season. We are around Knockhill here for the 13th, 14th and 15th round of the season. 33 rounds this season, of course, as we all comes to a head at Brands Hatch GP on April 26th. We return to Knockhill in a few weeks' time when we do the reversed layout of the circuit on April 5th. But we are here for the first time tonight in a strong grid of drivers that includes championship leader David Johansson, championship contender Thomas Brown, who was running strong at the top of the order before Johansson returned back into the championship. So we are going to have a quick peek at the championship standings. With that being said then, to see how it lines up after the first 12 rounds. Of course, with 4 weeks being completed, 2 of those being dropped, it means the 2 best weeks are currently what stands, and that means David Johansson is at the top of the championship order, your defending champion with 116 points to his name. Matt Neal is the driver in second right now. He's had 3 wins to his name, the same as Brown. He sits in second position. Joe Coffin is in third right now with 89 points. Thomas Brown sits in fourth with 87. It's then a little bit of a saunter back to Hayden Ahmed, who sits in fifth place. Ben Kaiser stepping into the car back at Donington. He's got 73 points to his name. He stepped in the same weekend. Johansson returned to the season. Riley Pogue switching across from Cactara to LS Racing here for round number 7. 62 points on his name. Thomas Batchelor sits in 8th position ahead of in the Alpha Corsa with 60 points, and he sits ahead of Jan Mild. It is Carl Thompson right now, rounding out the top 10 in your championship order. It is then James Pacey Knight sitting in 11th ahead of Cam McKay. A selection of Jameses coming in together, 13th and 14th. So Lazic Smith with 44 points ahead of Leroux with 41. Marek Lolia sits in 15th right now with 37 points. And then a string of teammates of the Lame Sheep Racing. Baker, Speaker, Paver, 35, 33, 32 points apiece. Janis Soloborski sits in 9th ahead of James Potter, sitting at the bottom of the top 20. We then see Eduardo Zamora, 21 points to his name, ahead of Mark Hughes. Ollie Wicks in 23rd with Vil Carcola in 24th. Our missing driver we saw from the Porsches. We got a missing one here as well. We do apologise for that. But it's Jan Kasperek sitting in 26th ahead of Adam Neal and Carl Marcinison, I should say, both with 1 point apiece. Adam Duff, the only driver to have taken part in the championship so far, that is not in the championship. It's not got a point in the championship as it stands. With that being said, then we are having a look at. Today at some of these wonderful cars, and with that being said, we do have a wonderful new car out there. This is Mark Hughes in the 495 machine, the only driver repping the brand new Audi machine that dropped into the iRacing service this week, and looking to give that one a go. Let's see what it can do around the Knockhill circuit. Everyone else, Jan Mild is the other driver in that brand new Audi machine. Everyone else in the either the old Audi in the way of Carl Thompson, or the Hyundai or Honda. The Hyundai has picked up quite a lot of popularity since the update. I drive the Hyundai Elantra myself, but it's the Veloster being run by Johansson here. Paisley Knight deciding to get into the Elantra there, along with Wiley Pogue. We've seen the Elantra do quite well. Matt Cololius in the Hyundai Elantra, along with Carcola. Paver, the other Veloster, so 2 Velosters out there. Jan Mild doing well on the board there to get a time in good enough for 6th place, as we see our standings in this qualifying session on the left-hand side. They used to be limited by lap times as well as time, amount of laps as well as time. I believe the laps has now been taken off of their limitation, and they can run as many laps as they please in this qualifying session, and that's going to help out Thomas Brown just a little bit as he moves up into 7th. The exact same lap time on the board it shows us, but in fact Brown has got a 51.224, Lolius 2.225. Lazuk Smith here looking to try and steal his first ever pole position in the series here at the front of the order. It is Matt Neal chasing down just behind James Paisley Knight behind that. Less than a 1/10 of a second separates Lazuk Smith, Neal and Knight right now. It is extremely close from all of them, and it is great to see them heading out here and seeing what they can do in this one as we come up towards the end of the lap. It is right now a strong lap time from Lazuk Smith. We'll be hoping to see that he can find his way to remain at the front, and at the moment it won't be as Matt Neal improves on his lap time. Lazuk Smith once again improves though, and they swap over again with 1.5 minutes left on the board here. They're only going to get another opportunity or 2 in to get a quick lap time. Paisley Knight looking to try and improve. He's sitting 3rd fastest right now, but it is defending champion and championship leader David Johansson in 4th. The brand new Audi not making the waves it can on the faster circuits. This type of track does not suit it as much, and that means that Jan Mild is down in 8th position and Mark Hughes down in, well, I was about to say 13th. He makes his way up to 11th place right now. Lazuk Smith looking to improve on his lap time and go faster than Neal and stay there, but Neal comes across the line. Will it be an improvement as Johansson goes 3rd? Neal does improve. Will James Lazuk Smith improve here? Paisley Knight is close right onto the rear end here. Could find some time on his lap time. No improvement from Lazuk Smith. No improvement from Paisley Knight, but they've got one more go at it here as they'll be able to finish the lap that they are on. I believe in the touring cars they do get that opportunity to do so. Johansson moved up into 3rd here and will be looking to try and stay up there, potentially even move on to the front row of the grid. He's taken pole in the previous 2 races, the 2 races he's competed in. Marek Lolius moves into 8th place right now. Remember, the top 15 are those that score points, and we will get a random invert in this field as Brown moves into 3rd position and across the timing line. And that will be the session over and done with. They didn't get to quite finish their times, but it does mean that Matt Neal will be starting race number 1 on pole position. So with that being said, let's have a look at the grid for the first of 3 races today. Matt Neal will start this one in 1st place ahead of James Lazuk Smith, Thomas Brown in 3rd, and David Johansson in 4th position. James Paisley Knight will start in 5th ahead of Riley Pogue in 6th place. 7th place is James Potter ahead of Marek Lolius, Thomas Batcher in 9th, and Jan Mild in 10th place. Mark Hughes will start this one in 11th with Cam McKay in 12th position ahead of Gregory Speakman and Eduardo Zamora. Soliborski will start in 15th ahead of Carcola. Pete Paver from 17th, Adam Baker in 18th position, and it is Carl Thompson who will start at the rear of the field. Right then, we get ourselves started for this one. It is going to be 15 minutes of racing action on the board, which is looking to be about 18 laps here around the Knockhill circuit. Let's see what each of our drivers is able to do in this one. Matt Neal starting from pole position. Teammate Thomas Brown directly behind him in 3rd is Lazuk Smith that separates the 2 Alpha Corsas. It is only the 2 Alpha Corsas out there today. Normally see a few more of them, but it is Neal and Brown. Oh, sorry, no, I should say Thomas Batcher is there in 9th. He is out there as well. I missed him. 15 minutes on the board. We are green and away over the line and up towards turn number 1 here in the first race of the day for round number 13. Matt Neal holds on, doesn't hold on to the lead because James Lazarus-Smith gets through, and that is David Johansson, championship leader, into the wall. A heavy hit on the back, and he comes on extremely dangerously there. Contact with Soliborski. Soliborski has gone off himself with that one. Johansson out of this race straight away. Pete Paver down in 17th position has a penalty on the opening lap. Matt Neal looking to regain into the lead of this one. Goes to the outside, looks for the switchback on the exit of Taylor's hairpin. Won't be able to do it. Heads up now towards turn number 1. And across the timing line we go. James Lazarus-Smith leading the way ahead of Matt Neal on the opening lap of Asking as they come down through Duffus Dip and into Leslie's. This is where we saw Johansson go off on the opening lap of Asking. And with that being said, let's have a look at what happened to Johansson on that opening lap. Was it contact? It was a nudge from Thomas Brown behind. The smallest of touches there. That sent him around, and then that was, unfortunately for Jonas Forsky, the contact sent him across into Eduardo Zamora, and it got him sent facing the wrong way. Back up then to the fights going on, and Riley Pogue has made an overtake past James Paisley Knight for 4th position in this one as we come up towards the timing line. Mark Hughes also gets past Jan Mild. Moving up into 9th, there's the 2 Audis there running together as they come across the timing line for the second time of Asking and head themselves onto the 3rd lap. Lazarus-Smith, though, looking to try and take what would be a first win of the season. Matt Neal took his first pole position of the season, of course. Can we see a first win here from Lazarus-Smith? Neal has fallen down to 3rd position with Brown up into 2nd. Not the start that Matt Neal would have wanted. He's taken 3 wins, of course, so far. Of course, this season, the last time he took victory was at Snetterton. It was race number 2. He stopped Johansson from taking the triple in that one. Johansson is out of the race, potentially out of the day as well. From this one, we could see a new championship leader. Johansson's already missed 2 weekends, and if he steps back from this one, he will be out, and he will be taking 0 points out of this weekend, which will be counted in his championship standings. Gregory Speakman here chasing down Phil Carcola in the fight for 12th position. Will have to stay behind for the time being. This is Jan Mild running around in 10th place right now in that new Audi, chasing down Mark Hughes as well as they come up towards turn number 6 of Clark's. And they get through nice and sensibly. Riley Pogue here looking to try and find his way onto the podium. He'll need to overtake Matt Neal in order to do that as they come through turn number 8 and up towards the timing line. Pogue has a great opportunity to make his way past Matt Neal here as they go across the timing line. Thomas Brown is purple, and you can see up ahead he is getting closer and closer to Lazarus-Smith. Could have an opportunity in this first race of 3 that is going to be going on. Carcola has lost out to Gregory Speakman, and we are going to see how that one occurred up towards the final turn. It looks like Carcola has had a slide. You can see the smoke. He's gone wide, and Speakman's just been able to duck out the inside, as that is... Well, it shows me that Pogue is ahead of Neal, but that's because we're still on a replay. Pogue has got past Neal there, but they're going back at it once more, and here goes Matt Neal to the inside of Riley Pogue. We'll have to see how that all switched around in the first place, and through goes Neal. This is what happened through the chicane. It was a big old jump, a huge amount of airtime for Pogue, but it was Neal off the circuit, and through went Pogue. And that was Paisley Knight getting past Batchelor behind them as well. But that was a huge amount of airtime as Batchelor sticks it to the inside of Paisley Knight here and looks to move through up into 5th position. And he manages to hold on to 5th, and Bachelor now up into 5th, which means we see the 3 Alpha courses all inside the top 5 at the moment. It is Lazarus Smith leading the way, 1.5 seconds clear of Brown after Brown made a little bit of a mistake and started to go slightly slowly. That's how he did it. He got a lot of airtime through the chicane, and that was when Neil and Pogue both ran off as well, and that was Brown losing time ahead of him, giving Lazarus Smith just a bit more breathing room in this race, hunting down his first race victory of the season, of the championship as well. It will be for Lazarus Smith, and he'll add his name to the record books, if you like. Looking at statistics and records, head across to josephwrightbroadcasting.com, as that was a big airtime again from Pogue. And head over to our league section. You can catch up on all of the league standings and statistics in both the Porsches and the touring cars for the LSR series. And if you are watching for the first time over on YouTube, we're live for the first time over there today, then make sure you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, as well as that thumbs up to show your support. We come through turn number 8 and up towards the timing line here for Thomas Bachelor, chasing down Riley Pogue for a potential 4th position in this one. This is the middle of the circuit at the moment, of the middle of the field, I should say, for their fight. It is Potter leading McKay, leading Hughes, leading Mild. As a bit of a change. And of course, we do have to remember that we've also got Kyle Thompson in this one. He started 19th. He's up to 14th. I'm trying to keep track of his timing, but of course he's displaying as a different car class out there because he is in the old Audi machine, which is why it's displaying him as P number 1. He's not P1. Kyle Thompson is P14. He's just technically in a class of his own. Jan Mild goes incredibly deep through the final corner and gets past Hughes, then goes defensive on the exit as well. And Jan Mild up to 9th position. Remember the top 15 score points in this race? Well, Eduardo Zamora is chasing down just behind right now and looking through to get that position, if possible, up towards the timing line. Across the line they go, and Eduardo Zamora is just 0.3 of a second away from a points-paying position. Jan Mild got past Mark Hughes on the last lap. He wants to get past Cam McKay this time. He's holding on to the right-hand side of the circuit, but that has invited Mark Hughes back into this one, and now Hughes going to the outside of McKay. Mild goes deep though, pushes McKay a little bit wide, and they come through, and that is going to be position for Jan Mild. And Mark Hughes is going to try and follow through, knocking McKay down to 10th position. Matt Neal takes the fastest lap of the race on the previous tour around the circuit, and Mark Hughes confirms his position past Cam McKay. And now McKay is saying, I want that position back if you don't mind. Dives to the inside. Hughes over the gravel there. They're side by side. There's contact. There's more contact, and Hughes will find himself into the barrier. There's more contact between Lolius and McKay as well. And that was a bit of a big one. McKay hits Hughes again. And then there's the secondary contact. We'll watch that one now, because there was secondary contact with Lolius as he tried to pull back across to the... Oh, the rejoins today have just been something else. McKay slamming into Lolius. Luckily didn't lose position, but lost a huge amount of time to his teammate Jan Mild. As this is Vilcar Kohler all over the rear end of Gregory Speakman. They're now fighting out for 10th position in this one. As we come into turn number three, for McIntyres, and Speakman runs off the circuit, letting Carcola go through. That is a lot of gravel being deposited around this track right now, as we're almost 10 minutes through this one with 5 minutes left on the board. We've still got 2 more races coming up, with the third race being a random invert, of course. We come up towards the final turn though, and Thomas Brown has closed that gap up to Lazarus Smith once more. It's 1.1 second, but at a time in point, it was only 0.7 of a second before Brown got some airtime. He does have 5 minutes to continue trying to close that one up, but look how much of the kitty litter has been thrown all over the bottom end of the circuit there, especially on the exit of Butchers into the black circle chicane. It is just absolutely littered. We ride on board then with Gregory Speakman, and we can see exactly what it's like with all of the gravel down here. You can see it loads of it off the circuit there. It's come back on. Fortunately, quite a bit of it being kicked back off again. Carcola getting quite a good amount of speed there over the chicane. Speakman will stay behind in 11th position right now. Thomas Batchelor still trying to catch up towards Riley Pogue, who's holding on to 4th position. He's chasing down on Matt Neal, who holds on to the final podium position as it stands. But Thomas Brown has got to get past Janusz Soliborski here. The blue flags will be out for Soliborski. Is he going to move out of the way? No, he is not. Brown will not be happy here. Dives straight to the inside, but it is going to make him slow on the exit of turn number 8, which will give Lazik Smith an additional half a second advantage. Brown will not be happy with Soliborski there. Would have been hoping that Soliborski moved out of the way, especially as the next driver up in Soliborski's fight is a lap ahead, as that's Carl Thompson off at the chicane. Carries a huge amount of speed. Look at that, to the inside of Speakman, and then it's just absolutely flying. Complete airtime from Thompson, and finds his way off the circuit in that one. Batchelor now has closed up to the rear end of Riley Pogue here as they come through the first few corners. They recently got past Pete Paver, which is what I think may have helped out a little bit for Batchelor to close up quite so much time here. But we come through turn number 6 of Clark's. It's gravel being kicked up there for Batchelor. It is now Neal having to make his way past Soliborski. He certainly does so. Soliborski making it a little bit easier there for Neal. Batchelor still over the rear end of Riley Pogue here. They are looking for 4th place in this one. Gregory Speakman moves back up to 11th as he overtakes Cam McKay there. And this is how that one happens, and that's because he initially lost it down the position as he jumps over the chicane, and then he held it on the outside line. He's off the circuit again though, and he loses out to McKay and Thompson. Back to the fight though, and what's happened to Batchelor? He's off the circuit, and that will be Thomas Batchelor down. What has happened here for him? As he comes to the chicane, it is just another aeroplane. It's just another aeroplane in this one that we've seen so often. Thomas Batchelor down to 7th position with that one then. And so many cars have taken that big old jump through the chicane. They just get too far to the right-hand side, get too much of the curbing on the sausage curb on the inside of the black circle chicane, and it just sends them skyward. And genuinely, they're getting so much lift in the cars. We should have a look at James Potter, because he's thrown on that lovely new JP Sim Racing livery that we saw in the Porsches. Well, he's got one on the Honda as well. And that is looking like a very nice car, and he gets a lot of two-wheeling action there through the chicane, and Thomas Batchelor just behind now. And looking to see if he can do something with this one in that fight. The gap at the front still 1.5 seconds as Eduardo Zamora has reached the instant limit and will be disqualified from this one. Zamora will be starting race number 2 from the back of the order. Carl Thompson getting to the inside of Cam McKay. McKay still dealing with that huge amount of damage on the front end of his car. Contact there with Thompson. Thompson holding though to the inside line though, fighting for 11th position. And Carl Thompson does make his way through and will be into P11 with Cam McKay behind in 12th place right now as Mark Hughes moves up to 16th with the disqualified Eduardo Zamora falling down the order. Thomas Batchelor here has an opportunity to get past James Potter. We'll get white flag next time around as Lazik Smith comes up towards the timing line. Batchelor is all over the rear end of Potter, but he did get onto the gravel for just a moment there. This is the fight for 6th. The gap at the front of the field has closed back to 1.1 second, but it won't be enough for Thomas Brown to do something on the last lap. He will have to settle for 2nd, but Lazik Smith is looking for his first win of the season here, as Paisley Knight has had to come down pit lane. I'm not too sure why. Is it fuel potentially for Paisley Knight, but he falls down the order, down pit lane. But James Lazarus-Smith here has got the charging Thomas Brown behind, but surely it won't be enough. Matt Neal will take the purple lap in this one. But through the final corner for James Lazarus-Smith. He started the race in second. He will finish the race a victor in the British Touring Car Series. And James Lazarus-Smith takes victory. James Potter needs to keep Thomas Batchelor at bay as they come up towards the timing line. And he will do so. Brown in second ahead of Neal, Pogue, Potter and Batchelor. Jan Mild will cross the line in seventh ahead of his teammate Marek Lolius. Still a fight going on behind between Gregory Speakman and Adam Baker. Speakman to the inside of Baker. Baker will hold it on the outside. Paisley Knight will take 9th out of a Carcola. Thompson in 11th ahead of Baker. Speakman in 13th. 14th will go the way of Baker in 12th. Speakman in 13th. McKay in 14th. Paver taking the final points a lap down. Hughes, Zamora, Salaborski will miss out on a points-paying position in this one at the end of the day. Cam McKay technically has not finished this race yet. He is running around in 14th position in this one. The checker flag is out, but it is not over until McKay will cross the line or our time runs out. I think McKay might just have enough time to get this one finished. But Zalaborski, with his DNF out of this race as well, means he technically finished behind Zamora here. Will he start behind Zamora? Well, that is going to be it for race number 1. McKay does not get an opportunity to finish his lap. But let's have a look then at the starting order for race number 2. Lazarus-Smith will start this one at the front of the field ahead of Thomas Brown. Matt Neal will start from 3rd with Riley Pogue in 4th position. James Potter in 5th. And Thomas Batchelor will start in 6th. Jan Mild will start the race in 7th position ahead of Marek Lolius. 8th position will be for 8th position will be Marek Lolius. 9th for Paisley Knight ahead of Carcola. Carl Thompson will start in 11th ahead of Adam Baker. Gregory Speakman from 13th out of Cam McKay. Paver from 15th out of Hughes. Zamora in 17th. And Janis Salaborski from the back of the field in 18th position. If we see him out in the second race of the day, David Johansson will start 19th. But I don't think we are going to see the championship leader heading into this one out there after getting taken out. I would say it was an interesting one to look at, but it was out of the race for Johansson in race number 1. He is then going to be at the... he was then pitted with damage, and he did not get back onto the track, and it looks like he is not going to be out onto the track for race number 2 either. Right, we prepare for the second race of the day and the 14th round of the season. I can't believe it already. At round number 14, right then. All the drivers, apart from Adam Baker, have made their way to the grid. We'll just be waiting here to see when they get themselves underway here and who is going to be able to lead up towards turn number 1. Of course, it was Matt Neal who started race number 1 on pole. He fell to second by turn 1. Could Brown do something similar to Lazarus-Smith here up towards turn number 1? That outside line, it can carry more speed, and it gets you in perfect position through Leslie's of turn 2 if you can get a good launch. 15 minutes on the board then for race number 2. We are green and away here in round number 14 as everyone heads up towards turn number 1. They have already settled themselves down single file at the front of this, but the 3 leaders have gained almost a second advantage, and Thomas Batchelor from 6th on the grid has moved up to 4th. Bill Carcola from 10th on the grid is up into 5th position right now. What has just happened on the opening lap of asking on the grid there? Because there has been some great launches and some shocking launches. Carcola was onto the gravel there, has invited Potter to his inside. Potter is going to take full advantage of that one and go through to the inside. He'll have to remain behind for the time being, though, as we head up towards the final turn. Is that going to be Pogue trying to do something? No, it is Potter to the inside of Carcola through the final turn here. But Carcola carries the speed on the exit there, and behind it goes 3 wide. Paisley Knight on the left, Mild in the middle, McKay on the right. That's Pete Paver trying to get involved in this one as well. They go down to 2 wide at the back, and McKay backs out of it, and Pete Paver moves up into 13th position. McKay though stays to the inside of turn number 3 and will return into 13th place right now, but off the opening lap of asking. Lazarus Smith continues to lead the way, but then it is an Alpha Corsa trio. Brown, Neil, Batchelor, 2nd, 3rd, 4th position right now in this race, and Brown was showing pace in race number 1, and now he is all over the rear end of Lazarus Smith. Could he do something with this to potentially make his way through and up the order? It is 3 wide behind, though, out of the final turn as Potter tries to keep Potter tries to keep Pogue and Carcola behind. Pogue goes to the inside, though, to move up into 5th position. Potter slots in to 6th place right now ahead of Marek Kalolius. And they will go that order through turn number 3. How are we going to go through the chicane, though? Because this is where we see some drivers just overdrive it over the curbing. They've got a lot of laps under their belt after race number 1, of course, though. So they do have a bit more knowledge of that chicane and how it does affect their car. Potter runs wide through the exit of Clark's there over the gravel. Doesn't lose too much time, though. Mark Hughes is looking to do something in the new Audi. He looks to the inside of Phil Carcola there for P number 8. And Mark Hughes does move up the order. Carcola now under attack from Carl Thompson as well. But Thompson will remain just behind for the time being, as this is Pete Paver chasing down Soloborski, as looks like we have just got Adam Baker out of pit lane. He missed the start of this one and will now come out of the pit lane in 18th place. Pete Paver stays behind Soloborski. We move up towards the lead fight, though, and Batchelor is closing into this. Brown all over the rear end of Lazarus Smith here. Is he going to go for the overtake up the inside? No, he stays right behind at the moment. A nudge on the back end of Lazarus Smith, though, as they come out of Taylor's hairpin and up towards the timing line. They go on to the 5th lap of asking, and Batchelor right now is the man with the fastest lap. He's yet to take a bonus point for fastest lap this season. Neil, Brown and Johansson are the only 3 to have taken fastest laps so far in the first 13 races. Will someone else get their name on the board in this one? As we come through the chicane of black circles, a lot of airtime there for Thomas Brown as he goes 2 wheels through the chicane, chasing down on the rear end of James Lazarus Smith right now. The 3 Alpha Corsas all over the rear. This is your midfield fight, and that was Jan Mild getting a bit squirrely on the exit of the chicane. Has Cam McKay now to the inside, but Mild will hold on to Pete number 12 as they head up towards the end of the lap. Thomas Brown then goes across the timing line, chasing down Lazarus Smith once more in this 4-car fight for the lead. But it is Lazarus Smith leading the way at the moment, as he did so in race number 1. He took his first victory of the season in race number 1. Is he about to take what will be his... we're about to say will be his 2nd win of the season in the following race. It is going to be interesting to see if James Lazarus Smith has the pace to do that. He certainly is showing it right now, but he does have the 3 Alpha Corsas on a hunt, and they are sniffing down the number 17 machine at the moment. Marek Kalolius chasing down James Potter. Potter on the rear end of Pogue here, up towards turn number 8 as they get through turn number 8. Potter looks to the inside of Pogue on the exit. It's no doing there, but he is all over the rear end as we ride on board with James Potter. In fact, we'll look off the rear wing of Riley Pogue as we go through turn number 1. We can see that chasing pack behind. This is the fight for 5th. They're about 7 seconds off of that lead car fight right now, that 4-car fight for the win. But it is a battle for 5th as Matt Neal has had an issue, and now so does Thomas Batchelor. 2 of your 3 Alpha Corsas there having issues through the top end of the lap. And what happened in all of that? It was a slowdown for Matt Neal. Batchelor then just carried too much speed, getting caught out by the slowdown, threw himself off the circuit. What that does mean is Brown has just taken the fastest lap of asking and now chasing down on the rear end of Lazarus Smith. But here comes Lolius to try and make the move past James Potter. Going to the outside. There's contact between the 2 of them. Potter stays to the inside line. It's a slide from Lolius. He goes around, he gets it back going, and he only loses position there. 2 shoes in all of that one. And no, that was Potter around. There was so much going on my timing screen. I couldn't keep up with it all. But Potter ends up facing the wrong way after all of that. Let's have another look at that one. It was side by side. There's the contact. Potter's to the inside. It's a spin and a self-spin there. Potter then stays ahead, and then that was Shoes, was it, to the inside? No, that was, yes, that was Shoes to the inside. Thompson up the inside behind. There's the contact that sent Potter around. And if I'm looking at that one right now... Oh. No, that definitely was contact. It looked a bit netcodey from the top there. My camera angle not sorted on this new car, of course. Yeah, it looked netcodey. Certainly was not netcodey. Huge slam there. Hughes taking out Potter, who now falls to the rear of this field. And currently out of points-paying positions as well, and he won't be liking that. Of course, we will get the random invert for race number 3 at the end of this one. We're halfway through race number 2, however, as we go over the timing line and up towards turn number 1, Thomas Brown is still over the rear of Lazarus Smith with the purple lap to boot. Is he just trying to stick around towards the end of this one, or can he generally not find a place to make this overtake at the moment? 7 minutes remain on the clock. I'm looking at your lap count. It's going to be about 8 laps at the end of this one for Brown to do something. 5 seconds separate himself. That lead fight between Neal and Batchelor after their issues, but after all the issues going on for battle for 5th, they're a further 10 seconds back, as that was Lolius running onto the gravel, and that is going to be it was Mild running onto the gravel, and it was Carcola who got to the inside there and made that overtake through in the fight for 9th position there. James Potter gets past Zamora, who's off the circuit, and now looking to get past Gregory Speakman into a point-paying position, but it's a swap around at the front that came out of nowhere on my timing screen, and Thomas Brown makes the move for race victory here. It was up towards turn number 1. He goes to the inside. It was a slight nudge there sideways from Lazarus Smith. Brown stays to the inside through turn number 3, and Thomas Brown moves through into the lead here. Brown has not won a race since round number 4 at Alton Park. Can he take victory here 10 rounds later at round 14? He has a good opportunity here, as Lazarus Smith now down to 2nd with 4.4 seconds back to the Alpha Corsa pair of Neal and Batchelor. Pacey Knight gets up the inside of Carl Thompson in the fight for 6th and 7th position. And it looks like Riley Pogue falling down a number of positions out on the final turn here, having to do something in a fight with McKay. McKay will stay to the inside, Pogue to the outside here as they come up towards the braking zone. Pogue will keep it on the outside. It'll swing around. That was netcode for sure, as McKay waits spinning there, and Pogue just a little bit of nut. There was a huge amount of space between them. McKay now just has to wait. And he waited until he saw Eduardo Zamora. And a huge whack for Zamora there means he will not be in with the chance for points now. Neither will McKay, which means Speakman now will be in the points paying positions to the end of this one. But that is a real shame for Eduardo Zamora. You can see McKay waiting, and he just goes a bit too early. Zamora was in the air. There was nothing he could have done to avoid that one. And bad rejoins are the name of the game today. Lazarus Smith chasing down Thomas Brown to try and get back into the lead on this one. 4 minutes left to go as they come around. Up towards the timing line, and you can see Zamora there as we come up towards turn number 6 there, and onto the braking zone there. As we come through turn number 4 and up into 5. Lazarus Smith getting airtime there, looking to try and close in. It's 2.5 tenths between himself and Thomas Brown right now. And up towards the end of the lap, and turn number 8, it'll be slamming on the brakes for Lazarus Smith behind Brown here in the fight for the lead. Opens up to about 0.3 of a second, but this is the fight that Lazarus Smith wants to come out on top. He won race number 1. He'll be looking to try and do the same here for race number 2. Where are we going to see the invert, though, for race number 3? It's going to be interesting indeed for our drivers. Riley Pogue here looking to get up the inside of Marek Lolius into the final turn. He keeps it tight, and Pogue does make the move through up towards the timing line, as well as Pogue crosses the timing line in 9th position. Lazarus Smith has got all over the rear end of Brown. He looks to the inside through Clark's. There's just not enough room there, but Brown is fully aware now that Lazarus Smith is there and wanting to do something in this one as we come through the final turn. And up towards the timing line, the gap has opened up to about a second, though, with all of that. Potter all over the rear end of Pete Paver here, looking to get up into 13th position. With 2 minutes left on the clock, we're going to get about 3 more laps of racing action with where Brown is coming through. Turn number 4 of Butchers right now. Onto the braking zone. Potter is in points of 14th place, looking to try and get points for 30, as I believe going slowly there is... Oh, I'm trying to figure out who that is that's going slowly there. I think that is Cam McKay going slowly. No, that is Zamora. That's Eduardo Zamora, who was going slowly along the pit straight there. Just trying to let the lap drivers through and not get in the way of anyone, as Pacey Knight runs around in 6th position here and through turn number 6 up towards the end of the lap. And with that being said, we're going to get 2 to go for these drivers, as the gap at the front has closed back down to about 0.9 of a second. But I think Brown has got this one in the bag. Can Potter do something on Pete Paver? He looks to the inside of turn number 8 as Eduardo Zamora finds himself disqualified for a second race on the trot here and will be out of points paying positions. He was already down and out anyway, but no longer running in this race, as Potter does make the move up into 13th past Paver there. Lazarus Smith about 0.8 of a second off of the rear of Thomas Brown. Brown comes through the hairpin now and up towards the timing line to take the white flag in this one. Pacey Knight looking to try and get past Mark Hughes for a potential 5th position, as the white flag does come out on the 18th lap of asking. Pacey Knight goes to the outside of Mark Hughes here. Will be looking for that switch across on the exit to try and get the speed up towards turn number 1, but Mark Hughes stays ahead for the time being. The gap at the front, just like it did in race number 1, is closing on the final lap of asking as the driver behind just deciding to push that extra little bit, but it does look like it is going to go the way of Thomas Brown for the 4th time this season. For the first time since round number 4, Thomas Brown is going to come to the final turn. It is a very late braking move from Lasik Smith there, but there's nothing he is going to be able to do to try and hold on to that one, and Thomas Brown will take his 4th win of the season at a Lasik Smith. Matt Neal will round out the podium with Batchelor coming in 4th position. Mark Hughes still needing to defend from Pacey Knight, who goes very deep and wide on the final corner. Could invite Thompson into this one, but Mark Hughes takes home 5th. Pacey Knight in 6th, Carl Thompson 7th, Jan Mild in 8th position, Phil Carcola in 9th, and importantly, Riley Pogue takes home 10th position. He will start race number 3 on pole position. Marek Lolius crossed the line in 11th, Adam Potter, and then Salaborski. Pete Paver came home in 14th, Gregory Speakman in 15th, down and out was Cam McKay. Adam Baker will cross the line in 17th position, and Eduardo Zamora disqualified from that one at the back of the field. But it is a 4th win of the season for Thomas Brown, and as I said, for the final race of the day, we are going to see a top 10 inverted field, which means that Riley Pogue will start the final race of the day from the front of the field. He won 1 race last season. Can he win a 2nd race in this campaign? Phil Carcola will start in 2nd ahead of Jan Mild. It will then be Carl Thompson in 4th position. James Pacey Knight will start in 5th with Mark Hughes in 6th position. 7th position will go the way of Thomas Batchelor with Matt Neal in 8th. James Lasik Smith will start in 9th, ahead of Thomas Brown. Marek Lolius in 11th, and James Potter in 12th position. 13th will be Janis Salaborski, ahead of Pete Paver. Gregory Speakman in 15th, ahead of Cam McKay. Baker will start in 17th, ahead of Zamora. And the back of the field, if he does get down, which he won't, is David Johansson. But Riley Pogue will be starting the 15th round of the season from pole position. He has the best opportunity to try and convert this into race victory for the first time this season. But we just wait now for the lights to tick on and all of our drivers to make their way onto the racing surface for this one, as we look towards turn number 1. Riley Pogue leading this one ahead of Phil Carcola right now. It is Jan Mild having a great start. Of course, Mild took 1 win last season as well. He took the win at Donington in the wet race, but he's starting 3rd here. Could he do something? He's in that new Audi, and he's been showing some good pace actually in 3rd position. We are just waiting for the lights to come up then for 15 minutes to get going in this one. It'll be 18 laps of asking, the final race of the day, of course, and then we will have a look at our provisional championship standings out of the 15th round of asking. 15 minutes on the board then for the 3rd and final time, with Riley Pogue starting from pole. We are green and away for round number 15 as we head up towards turn number 1. We saw some great launches in race number 1, and it is going to be Riley Pogue keeping the lead on the inside. There's contact behind though as cars go sideways, and that is Lasik Smith off onto the grass on the opening lap of asking here. Everyone else trying to file their way through, and they have done on this opening lap, and they will get through the chicane with only Lasik Smith going a bit wide there, and it looks like sorry, Pacey Knight going off. Wasn't Lasik Smith, it was Pacey Knight. But it does look like the course of Batchelor may have had a slowdown early doors there, because he was backing out, but he now looks to the inside of Jan Mild to get up into 5th position through the final turn. Mild moves to the right-hand side, hits Lasik Smith there. He knows he's stuck on the left, but that is Batchelor going defensive early doors here as we go up towards turn number 1, and Batchelor is going to hold the inside line. Mild in 6th position will just have to hold on for the time being as Lazarus Smith moves up into 7th on the early stages of this race right now. But it is Riley Pogue still out the way in the front of this one after the opening lap. He did lose out to Carcola on the start line, but then to turn number 1 he got the inside line and managed to get a good amount of speed up towards the end of the lap here. And this is Lazarus Smith looking to the inside of Jan Mild, as that's also Neil looking the inside of Thompson ahead. As Lazarus Smith gets the inside, they all get slowed down up ahead as well. That will be Lazarus Smith up into 5th position. Matt Neal past Carl Thompson and up into P number 3 right now. Neil has taken 3 victories so far this season as well, looking for a potential 4th, as that was a slide from Jan Mild behind. And coming through turn number 3 there, he runs slightly off the circuit from Mark Hughes. And it does mean Mild back up to 7th position there. Lazarus Smith up to 6th position right now. Soliborski has had to come down pit lane early doors because he has gone around, and this is what happened to Soliborski. It was contact, huge contact with Pete Paver, and they both end up into the wall in that one. Matt Neal to the inside of Phil Carcola. A little bit of a touch through the final corner, but Matt Neal moves up into 2nd position right now. It is absolute carnage out there as drivers try to find any which way up the order here in the 15 minutes of racing. Brown to the inside of Jan Mild does move up into 7th position at this moment in time, and Carl Thompson holding on ahead of Phil Carcola. Carcola goes onto the gravel, and that was James Potter trying to get past Jan Mild behind, had to slow down with the alternate racing lines and some different speed. Gregory Speakman gets past Eduardo Zamora. Zamora off wide here. He's trying to stay completely out of the way of Adam Baker, who is on his right, and he will stay on the right. Zamora making sure he's not coming on too dangerously there up towards the final turn. Thomas Brown chasing down the rear end of Phil Carcola here. Will be to the inside of Carcola, but it won't be the speed on the exit. And that is Lazarus Smith up, and that is in the background. Gregory Speakman into the wall as well. Riley Pogue at the very front of this is not just benefiting from the reverse grid here. He is also benefiting, he's showing good pace, that he's actually able to, in clean air, be able to just pull away with the fastest lap to boot, as well as it's side by side between Carcola and Mild, and they come together and they slam into the wall, similar to what we saw for Soliborski and Paver. They will be down and out of this race as well, with a big hit into the wall for both of them. It is drivers just trying to find their way through the field, and it is not going well in that aspect. Gregory Speakman comes out of pit lane. He is only about 6 seconds off of Soliborski, who will be at a points-paying position even after his visit down pit lane, like Speakman's across the timing line here, but somehow already 5 minutes into this race. Thomas Batchelor has closed up all the way onto the rear end of Matt Neal here, but he throws it onto the gravel in that one, so we'll lose off the rear end of Neal, but the Alpha Corsas have managed to make their way 2nd and 3rd. Thomas Brown was in fact the driver that got the slowdown on the opening lap, which is why he backed out. He now needs to get down past Carl Thompson here to get back into 5th position. But could we see, for the first time this season, 3 different race winners in the 3 races? We have not seen that so far, as Brown gets to the inside of Thompson and he makes it through. We've seen 2 different race winners in every single week so far. Brown and Coffin in week 1, Brown and Neal in week 2, Johansson and Coffin in week 3, Johansson and Neal last week. Currently it's Smith and Brown, Lazarus Smith and Brown I should say. Are we going to see either of those take victory? Are we going to see for the first time this season, in the 5th time of asking, 3 different race winners? And is it going to be a new winner for the season under that of Riley Pogue? He has a great opportunity to try and do something with this one, of course. Mike Lolius is trying to catch up to Mark Hughes to get up into 8th position. Lolius' teammate Jan Mild went down pit lane, but has now come out of pit lane after getting that major damage earlier on with the contact with Phil Carcola, but they are both out there on the track right now. Thomas Brown chasing in behind as they head up towards the timing line once again. As we just have a little look here, sorry, as we come through the beginning of the lap. Marek Lolius about half a second behind Mark Hughes. Cam McKay 0.3 of a second behind Marek Lolius. So this is your battle in the midfield right now, but there's a battle for the podium as Lazarus Smith has got over the rear end of Thomas Batchelor, and it is Thomas Brown just behind as well. So 3 cars that we were seeing fighting it out in race number 1. Fighting it out again, this time to 3rd place. But Thomas Brown is once again behind Lazarus Smith. We saw that occur in race 2. I should have said race 2 earlier, sorry. We saw that occur in race number 2. And Brown was able to come out on top ahead of Lazarus Smith. Will something similar happen here as Matt Neal gets the fastest lap of asking here, and it looks like we're going to continue to have the same 3 names taking the fastest laps of the championship so far as we come through turn number 3 there and up towards the chicane. Lazarus Smith there bouncing along up towards turn number 6 of Clark's. And he stays ahead of Thomas Brown for the time being, but he does pick up a little bit of gravel in that one, and Thomas Brown might be looking at it and just thinking, right, I know where I made the overtake in the last race. Can I do the same here? Is turn number 1 a valid option here? Can he ask Batchelor to maybe try and back Lazarus Smith up enough? I know that they have never played the team game in that aspect before, between the drivers trying to help each other work the way through the field. I'm sure that won't be the case again today. Thomas Brown chasing down Lazarus Smith as we come up towards turn number 1. Slightly different racing lines there. Lazarus Smith getting the slower entry, but he does get the smoother run through the corner. Brown doesn't lose much though, only about a couple of thousandths of a second over the chicane. A huge amount of air there from Lazarus Smith. That's going to make him slow out of the black circle chicane up towards Clark's. Thomas Brown can get all over the rear end here, potentially look for a move up towards turn number 8 as Lazarus Smith already going defensive, but Brown says, I want the inside line anyway. Lazarus Smith gets back to the racing line. He knows Brown is going to be tight on the exit. Brown goes extremely tight on the exit there to hold on to 4th, but he is up to 4th position now and towards turn number 1. Thomas Brown stays ahead of James Lazarus Smith, and we come in towards the turn 1 of Duffus Dip and into Leslie's through McIntyre's. I think that was Pete Paver we just heard there. Whoa! That was a big old jump there from Pete Paver. It looked like a throttle pedal potentially getting stuck for him there, and Paver will be down and out of this race. That moves Jan Mild into 16th. He only needs 1 more issue ahead of him, and Mild will find himself back into the points. It will only be a singular point, but he will find himself back into the points with that. We come through the end of the lap here with Lazarus Smith chasing down on the rear end of Thomas Brown and Thomas Batchelor. What is Brown going to try and do here with his teammate? He's pushing him along up towards turn number 1. He doesn't go for the overtake there. 5 minutes between now and the end of the race. We're looking at about 7 more laps of asking, but Batchelor holds on ahead of Brown for the time being. Lazarus Smith looking ahead and thinking, where can I get past these 2 teammates? Now is the opportunity. Brown goes defensive up towards turn number 8. Lazarus Smith gets his nose in on the outside, gets Brown to run the slower line, but Brown pasting it perfectly there, giving Smith an opportunity. And Jan Mild has just got the opportunity he was waiting for, because Gregory Speakman has been penalised. He will have to come down pit lane to serve a penalty, which means Jan Mild might get a point in this final race of the day. We go up towards the timing line here. We ride on board with James Lazarus Smith chasing down Thomas Brown and Thomas Batchelor. Different lines for them on the entry with their entry speeds, as well as Paisley Knight now to the inside of Cam McKay, moves up into 10th position, and Paisley Knight went around on the opening lap of asking course and now needs to recover from that. Pete Paver also needs to come down pit lane with a penalty that he will be serving, but Jan Mild moves past Speakman, who is down and out of this race, and up into 15th. Phil Carcola now only a 1 position away from a points paying position after they visited the wall heavy together in an accident earlier on in the race. Brown still over the rear end of Bachelor here. Importantly to note here, Riley Pogue still out in the lead, even with Neil running the fastest lap of the race. Pogue has been running faster laps recently that has reopened that gap between himself and Neil. We are keeping an eye on it. It could close down before the end of this one, but right now Riley Pogue is looking to take a light to flag victory in the third and final race of the day. It will be his first win of the season, and it will really help his championship fight in the touring cars. Brown all over the rear end of Bachelor here, and as they're pulling away from Lazarus Smith, it doesn't look like Brown is going to fight with Bachelor towards the end. I said, but we haven't really seen too many team games between the two, between the teammates in our quarter before. I think we are seeing it here today as they work together to pull away from Lazarus Smith. I'm sure, though, we will see a last lap fight between the two of them potentially, as they'll go at it for the podium position. Brown will be wanting that podium position, of course. Speakman just waiting at the end of pit lane until it was all clear behind him to get onto the circuit. There's a lot of drivers coming through, and he's just thinking here, where do I come on? Well, I'm not going to be in the way. Is he going to wait until Baker goes past? He certainly is. And Gregory Speakman will return to the circuit there, just putting some laps under his belt. The rain starts to fall just a moment there. That is not going to have a significant impact on this race with just a few laps to go. We've seen rain at the end of races have some major impacts in the past. That's not going to be the case today. James Potter, though, sees the rain, panics, goes around at the chicane and down now to 11th position. But it is just a sprinkling of rain. 2 minutes on the clock. We're going to have 3 more laps of asking here. Matt Neal has an opportunity now to try and take what will be his 4th win of the season. He is chasing down Riley Pogue, who has led this one from the start, from pole position in the top 10 inverted for the final race of the day. We come up towards the penultimate lap of asking, as we have the fight for the lead now coming into play. They have Jana Soliborski just up ahead. Soliborski pulls over to the side, though. He is not going to get in the way of this lead lap fight. Through goes Pogue. Is he going to back out enough here to let Neil through as well? No! He brakes and pulls onto the racing line. Neil is going to be stuck behind Soliborski. Pogue is going to be looking in his mirrors and thinking, what an opportunity to hold on to the race lead. Soliborski stays ahead of Matt Neal still. Neil will be hating this. The 81 finally moves out of the way, but no, he doesn't. Surely he'll be lifting off. There we go, but the gap between Pogue and Neil just opened up by about 5 seconds. Riley Pogue is going to lead on to the last lap of asking with a second advantage. Bachelor now overtaken from Brown. Brown on the outside line up towards turn number 1. They are going to fight onto the last lap of asking. Bachelor will keep the inside line. There's contact. Thomas Brown goes sideways, but he gets it back going. Zamora DQ'd from the 3rd race as well. Mild DQ'd. It will put Carcola and Speakman back into points. But Thomas Brown does hold 3rd position after that contact. But crucially, because of Jana Soliborski keeping Neil behind, Riley Pogue will come out of the final corner and will taste victory for the first time this season, which is absolutely great news for him in the championship. Lolius trying to get past Hughes through the final corner. They swap over, but Hughes will stay ahead of Lolius. And Pogue will win the race out of Neil. Brown will take 2nd. Brown will take 3rd. Bachelor in 4th. Lazarus Smith took home 5th. Carl Thompson in 6th. Hughes beating Lolius. Pacey Knight in 9th. And Cam McKay rounding out top 10. It was James Potter in 11th. Out of Adam Baker. Soliborski will take home 14th ahead of Carcola. Eduardo Zamora Looks like he might actually take 15th position in this race. Jan Mile DQ'd. Gregory Speakman will cross the line in 17th, and Pete Paver in 18th position. What a way to end the third and final race of the day, though, but it is victory for Riley Pogue. You can see the 3 Alpha Corsas in a line behind across the timing line there. But what a race that was, and a real shame indeed that we saw Zalaborski just keeping Matt Neal at bay for about half of the penultimate lap there. But it does mean that Riley Pogue places himself onto the winner's board and joining Lazarus Smith on that one for the first time this evening. And for the first time this season, we should say, we have 3 different winners in 3 races. With that being said, then, we need to have a look at our championship standings after this one. And I don't know what's going on with our championship standings. I know why. It's because Carl Thompson is technically in a separate class here, and it is making it extremely impossible to look at. So with that being said, I'm going to go the old-fashioned way and have a look on the league standings page, which means I'm not going to be able to show you on the stream. However, I will talk you through the championship standings out of that one because we do just need to have a little bit of a look, and with that class issue that I will fix for next one, we will have a look. So out of this one then, round number 15 is done, and Matt Neal leads the championship with 143 points to his name. He is 3 points clear of Thomas Brown, who sits in second place right now. It is then a bit of a saunter back. 140 points for Brown, 117 for Carl Thompson, who sits in third. David Johansson in fourth position with 116 points. Riley Pogue in fifth right now with 102. Ahmed and Batchelor are tied on 96 points apiece. And then Lazarus Smith sits in eighth with 92 points to his name ahead of Joe Coffin. James Paisley Knight is rounding out your top 10 in your championship right now. Jan Mild sits in 11th ahead of Ben Kaiser. Marek Lolia sits in 13th, and Cam McKay in 14th position. James Potter sits in 15th right now ahead of Mark Hughes. Adam Baker in 17th, Pete Paver in 18th. Leroux and Speakman are tied on 41 points apiece, with Janis Zalaborski on 40. Vil Carcola sits in 22nd with 31 points to his name ahead of Eduardo Zamora. Olivic sits in 24th, and our unknown driver from earlier on, where we were trying to figure out who it was Lawrence De Dapper. He sits in 25th with 6 points to his name, ahead of Jan Kasparek. Carol Marcinison sits in 27th, ahead of Adam Neal. Both of those drivers with 1 point. And Adam Duff, the only driver without a point to his name this season. But it is a championship lead for Matt Neal at the end of the 15th round of asking. What an amazing place for him to return to. He was in the lead of the championship at the end of Alton Park, of course, before the drop weeks were applied. And now that we have 3 weeks counting, he is back to the top of the order. We will be back then for the touring cars in a week's time when we return for Silverstone. But here on Joseph Wright TV, it is not over. We have still got the Roulette League to come up, and it is the 5th and final round of competition, so make sure you're not missing out on that one. But from here at LSR, the British Touring Car Series, it is goodbye. Thank you so much for watching, and we will be back for the next set of races in a week's time. If you are watching on Twitch, stick around. We'll be going over to our roulette wheel in just a moment's time. If you're watching over on the YouTube, then we'll be switching across to our Roulette League stream. So make sure you head over there. But from here at Knockhill and the LSR, we say goodbye, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.